Mistakes. Shortly after leaving the United Nations, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley gave the Asian Leadership Conference a stark warning about the growing threat from Communist China 4 years later. She thinks that the threat has only grown, says lawmakers from both sides of the aisle have failed to meet the China challenge. Joining us now to talk about that, her economic agenda, and more, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, former governor of South Carolina, and presidential candidate Nikki Haley. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
It's good to have you here. We have such a strange relationship with China. It's so important to the world, and yet so fraught with risk and peril. Do you have a way to try to walk that line?
Well, first, let's open our eyes. Let's be honest about what's happening. You know, you sit there and you see Blinken going and trying to appease China, and Yellen saying, oh, let's do more business with China. But the reality is, you know, if you look at Yellen's conversation, she said, well, you know, it shouldn't be a winner-take-all scenario. It should be something where, you know, we play by the rules and we can be fair competitors. But if to even say that means you don't understand China. China only plays with a winner-take-all scenario. They've never played by the rules. They don't see us as a competitor. They see us as an enemy. This is the biggest threat we've had since Pearl Harbor. And just look at what they've done, the infiltration they've done in our country. They've bought 400,000 acres of U.S. soil, most recently near Grand Forks Air Force Base, where our most sensitive drone technology is. They bought the largest pork producer in the country. They have spy balloons going over us. But you look, they go and they spend millions of dollars in our universities to spread Chinese propaganda. They have Chinese front companies lobbying our Congress on behalf of the Communist Party. And then you look at the military, that what they're doing. Largest naval fleet in the world, 350 ships. They'll have 400 ships in 2 years. We won't even have 350 ships in 2 decades. And now they've become a big developer of neurostrike weapons, which go and impair brain function. And they use that for military leaders, for major populations. They're developing hypersonic missiles. We've barely started. I mean, the list goes on in how much they're stealing $600 billion of intellectual property from us every year.
What do you say to American companies that are doing business there? Do they need to get out?
I think American companies need to look at what happened with the Europeans in Russia. What I said, I spoke to 400 CEOs last summer, and what I said is, if China pulls the rug out from under us tomorrow, will you be ready? Every company needs to have a plan B. And the way America needs to look at it is just from a national security lens.
But is it
Are we ready?
Is it a plan B when something happens, or is it a plan B right this minute? Meaning, are you saying, if Tim Cook is watching right now, are you saying, Tim Cook and Apple, you need to actually withdraw from China, both for yourself and for the country? Is that what you're really saying?
Well, let's first talk about what Americans need to know. President Xi started a commission that he personally chairs that says any company that does business in China has to cooperate with the Chinese military. So look at our tech companies. Look at all of our financial data. Look at all of our healthcare data. Look at our children's lifestyle data, and now know the Chinese military has it. What I'm saying is we look at it through a national security lens. So when COVID happened, they wanted you to put on a mask. It was made in China. They wanted you to take a COVID test. It was made in China. You go to the drugstore and everything is made in China. Let's just say, if China pulls the rug out from under us tomorrow,
right,
will we be ready? And for American companies, what they need to understand is this is no longer a competitor, this is an enemy. And they need to start looking at doing business with our friends, India, Australia, Japan, South Korea. Let's start doing more business with our friends, and let's become less dependent on China. That's what India's doing, that's what Japan's doing.
But the message is get less dependent on. It's not you need to get out right now because.
Well, I mean, look, the number one cause of death of adults 18 to 49, fentanyl. Don't think for a second China doesn't know what they're doing when they have the cartels do that. You know, I personally think if it means us ending normal trade relations, you go to China and say, we'll end normal trade relations until you stop killing Americans. Look at how fast
would you be prepared to do that?
I think China is an enemy. I think we have to take them incredibly seriously. And the problem is, you can look at dollars and cents, or you can look at a threat to America. And I will tell you that companies and people have said for too long, we'll deal with China tomorrow. But China is dealing with us today. We've got to address this.
Nationalism is not something that is foreign in this country, either. America first. It's absolutely impossible that China just wants to be a superpower along with us in this great world that we have with us selling to them, them selling to, that's not what it is.
I think if you look, everything they say is about destroying the West. Everything.
So it's not just about coexisting in the future.
They never once said they want to coexist. Everything they've said is about defeating the West. And read President Xi's own statements.
But you don't think there are elements of things that we need to work on with China to actually have a future as a globe?
In self-interest in China, you don't want to destroy your biggest trading partner that you sell all your stuff to.
So that's the problem. Too many people are thinking about the dollars and cents. Are you still going to be thinking about the dollars and cents? Do you still think about the dollars and cents, knowing that China's now put a military installation in Cuba, and if they put Chinese military there, are you still going to think about dollars and cents? Because that's what they're doing.
The scariest things that people don't even speak about have been written on the op-ed pages of the Wall Street Journal. One is developing a bioweapon that you could inoculate your own population against first by, say, it's a flu vaccine. You'd use that and coinciding with a cyber attack, they could wipe us. They could wipe us off the map with those two things.
They are trying to beat us on artificial intelligence. They are already doing it with cyber. They're doing it with space. They are coming at all fronts to us, and we keep thinking, oh, but they're such good trade partners. If we don't wake up, we will end up like the Europeans did with Russia. This is the biggest wake-up call we've had, and no one's talking about China, but I will continue to talk about it. We can do business with other friends. We can do business with other partners, but if we don't wake up to what they're doing, and don't listen to what I'm saying, look at what China's done.
Right.
Look at that infiltration, and if that doesn't send a chill up your spine, I don't know what else to say.
Let's stick with, not necessarily a chill up anyone's spine, but we do have an election coming up that's a little bit frightening to some Americans based on where we are right now. It's a crowded field as far as Republicans go. There has been a criticism that Republicans, many of the candidates, are hesitant to criticize President Trump. There's also criticism that if you're at 2 or 3%, you're just basically renominating or going to nominate President Trump because the field is too dilutive at that point. What do you say to all these things?
This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We're just getting started. This will really start to shake up post-Labor Day. You know, there are people who either want me to like Trump 100% of the time or not like him 100% of the time. That's not how I think. I shoot it straight. If he does something good, I support him. If he doesn't do something good, I hit him on it. And I think that that's how we should be. And when you look at the elections, look back at 2016. In July of 2015, Cruz had 4% going to the Iowa caucuses. In November, he had 10%. In January, he won it outright.
Okay, if he does something wrong, you criticize him. So I don't know what's going to happen in Georgia. I don't know whether there's additional federal charges coming about January 6th. Have enough things happened at this point for you to say that he's a flawed candidate, that the Republican Party does not need at the top of the ticket? Or do you still, like so many people, think that it's an unequal system of justice, and this is the guy we want to clean up the swamp again? I
have said it very clearly that we need a new generational leader. We've got to leave this negativity behind. Are there problems in our justice?
Would you support him if he gets the nomination?
I would support him because I am not going to have a President Kamala Harris. We can't afford that. That is not going to happen. But I will tell you, you look at these indictments, there's probably going to be a fourth indictment. Right. We can't have, as Republicans, him as the nominee. He can't win a general election. That's the problem. We've got to go and have someone who can actually win. And that's what it's going to take. I've been a 2-term governor that took a double-digit unemployment state and turned it into an economic powerhouse. I was at the UN. I didn't negotiate with one country. I negotiated with 193. It is time for a new leader with new solutions that can move us forward. If it's not you, and it's not Trump, and maybe you could be a vice president. I know you probably hate when people say that. I know. Okay. I don't play for second. Who give me the other top 3 if it's not you or Trump? No, it's going to be me. Okay. At the end of the day... That's the best answer. At the end of the day, you have to look at what it's going to take. The other candidates have spent millions of dollars. The accountant in me hasn't spent anything because no one's paying attention. The debates start next month. You'll see me on the debate stage. Then things will start to move, and then you'll see those numbers start to shift. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you just about business and what seems to be a shifting sort of playing field in terms of how the Republican Party has sort of looked at business. A lot of this has to do with wokeism or anti-wokeism. I'm thinking about Disney in particular. You actually got both, I think, praised and condemned for your position against DeSantis as it related to Disney. But there's also so many other things happening around the country, whether it comes to Second Amendment issues, whether it comes to climate, banks that do business with certain people, don't do business with other people. How you think about that and how you think about the free market?
You know, as governor, businesses were my partners. If you take care of your business community, you take care of the economy. You know, if small businesses are the heartbeat of America. And so I always knew if businesses had cash flow, they didn't go on vacation, they hired more people. So you want to be partners. Look, I totally disagreed with Disney when they went and they hit on the Don't Say Gay bill. I don't think companies need to get into politics. I think they need to stay out of it. But I also don't think that governors should spend taxpayer dollars suing companies. I mean, there are going to be times that we disagree, and that's okay. But in my state in South Carolina, we always work together. We never had those types of issues because at the end of the day, you lift up everybody when you focus on capitalism, when you focus on freedom, and when you get out of business's way, and businesses need to get out of the politics as well.
We're seeing, Disney's got its own issues with streaming, but also I think the shareholders can decide what to do.
Shareholders and consumers can decide what to do.
Right,
consumers decide what they want to buy or
they
don't
are
buy.
deciding.
That's right.
Anyway, Governor Haley, thank you.
Thank you. I hope your listeners will go to NikkiHaley.com.
NikkiHaley.com. You got that in right at the end. Thanks. Squawk Box will be right back.